Welcome back, tasties and tastettes, to another episode of FTWGT Weekly. It's your boy Lenny, joined again by producer extraordinaire Dante. Dante, how are we?
We're good. We're good.
Well, this week I have 99 problems, and hopefully a podcast isn't one. Uh, but if you could, before I get into all of that, as always, give us a like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend, ask a friend, all that good ish. We would appreciate it. Thank you. Sharing is caring. Dante, I'm a broken man this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Have I done this rant before on here? I've been sold a dream. I've been
I
sold a dream since I was a wee lad.
I think this is a familiar rant, but I can't remember if we did it live or not.
Like, I remember being like 14 years old, and I had like a couple friends who had a PC and would game on a PC. And then I was like 16 and I had more friends that gamed on a PC, 18, even more. And it's like I was always sold this fucking dream, dude. Everybody always was like PC masterclass or like all this bullshit. Like the games are so much better. They look so much cleaner. Dude, like the PC is the way to go. And finally, old ass me rolls around and gets a computer like 4 years ago. And I have to say, it has been nothing but undue stress and pain on my life ever since. And like it has its good times. And I always say this, like I get it, dude. Like when I was 16, like a console couldn't compete with what a PC could do. Right. So I get it. I got it a little bit more back then. But it was still expensive as fuck to get it, right? And it's still my gripe today. I'm like, now it's even more of a gripe, I think. I have even more of a leg to stand on about my beef. Because I like my computer's a Swiss Army knife, right? Like we do this, we record a podcast on it, we edit a podcast. Like there's a lot of versatility. It's not just for games. That's not the only reason I use it. So I understand why it costs more money. I understand that I get more value out of it. Ideally, it lasts longer than a console. Like I get all of those things, people. I do. But like when you have a fucking problem with these things, you have to like do 9 million different things and nothing works the way it did before. And you're sitting here for 6 hours and you have to be a fucking rocket scientist. I have to go to school for computer science or some bullshit. I don't even know what people do to learn how to operate on computers, but I have to fucking do it. And I don't want to. Like
I
when
feel
I
like
had a
most people just
PlayStation,
Google or YouTube
brother,
videos.
you're Googling like 17 different things. You're like, what does this code mean? Why am I getting this error? How do I troubleshoot this? 3 hours later, you finally cracked a little bit of the fucking puzzle. And I'm sure I finally got this going, right? I'm telling you, everybody out there, we are on a ticking time bomb. And there may be a part where you're like, where'd the rest of the podcast go? And it's because my computer blue screens and I fucking throw something at the wall. Like, I don't come back. I don't come back from this one, people. I just don't. I don't. If it happens again, like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I like. Let me take you back a couple days. I'm sitting here. I'm playing games, the same games I play all the fucking time. I'm sitting here, 3 hours, 4 hours. We're putting in a work day on this bitch, right? And then all of a sudden, it's just like blue screen, blue screen, blue screen. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. And it just won't stop. It won't stop. It doesn't stop. And we're lucky there wasn't a gun around. All I'm going to say, I don't like,
Jesus Christ.
I was going to shoot the computer. I was going to shoot the computer. I promise.
All right. Just trying to make sure we didn't have like a watch situation here.
No, you can't say that, dude. An unalive watch.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'll bleep that one.
And like my computer would have been like that fucking JetBlue pilot who found himself in a Target parking lot, dude.
Can't laugh at that one.
I can. The time's passed. We can make jokes, dude.
Dirtbag. Too soon.
Yeah. And I'm just like sitting here, like at one point, I'm like, do I have a $2,000 paperweight? Like, is that what I'm like working with here? My fingers are starting to hurt from putting in RAM and removing it over and over again. Like my fingers were starting to get sore, dude. And as like a mid-30s fat man, like hands and knees, like trying to like fiddle inside of a computer, my back started hurting. My knees didn't feel good. My ass was falling asleep at some points. It like the problems didn't stop, but we're here now. We're here now. My PlayStation never did any of this to me. I just want to point that out. Didn't do it. My Xbox never had these problems.
You must have never had a 360.
No, I was just one of the fortunate ones. Never
Went through like 4 of those things.
And to be fair, like that was 10 years ago, brother. Xbox ain't having those issues anymore.
There was a time it did happen.
What a time to be alive, dude. The red ring of death. Remember people were like wetting like towels and wrapping it around their consoles?
To get the red ring of death, to get the warranty out of it?
Or I think that like try and cool it off. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck they were doing.
No, I think people were forcing them a red ring at one point because Microsoft had like a warranty program for it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm off my game, people. I'm off my game this week. I can't lie to you. It's taken a lot out of me. I haven't touched my computer in like 4 days. Today was the first day I was like, we're gonna fix this thing. Today we're gonna fucking pound through this thing. And I've bought 4 sticks of RAM and I'm not using any of them, by the way. Like I I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's talk about some movies though. I've given you this long diatribe for long enough. You know, words of caution, people. Computers aren't all fun and games. They act it like it was. They sold you a dream. Dreams don't come true, dude. That's that's my message to you kids. They don't come true.
On the contrary, I mean, I also have a computer which I'm using right now, and no issues.
Nobody fucking asked. Nobody asked you, dude. Like that's the problem here. Like,
Yeah.
like if I wanted insight from the guy with the computer that's working fine, would ask for insight from him. I didn't. I didn't.
Noted.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Just remember that. Kids, invest your money wisely, dude. Get a savings account. Buy some bonds. Maybe it's not the right time to get into the computer world. Buy a Mac, dude. They're simpler.
Gaming
You
experience
do
isn't the same.
you do less, but they last longer and they're simpler. Like, great, there's all these extra slots to do stuff in your PC. It's like, well, you don't even fucking use them, dude. And when you try to use them, you have to click 17 other screens to know what the fuck you're doing. I said I was done. I said I was done. We're moving on. We're moving on. This was almost a bigger conflict than Kong and Godzilla, dude. I'm over here like Kong, throwing my hands up, yo, don't want to fight, don't want to fight. And like my computer's running up on me like Godzilla, like, let's fucking throw down, dude.
It's an interesting segue.
It dominated me the same way that Godzilla and Kong dominated the box office.
Ooh, okay.
Hit us with those numbers, Dante. Hit us.
So it looks like we got an opening weekend of 80 mil. And they already have worldwide 202 mil.
Do we have a budget?
I did not pull that. Give me 2 seconds.
It is unseated Dune 2 on its throne of ruling the worldwide box office this week. First time in several.
135 mil, so we're already making money.
135 mil, that's all?
Yeah.
Is that surprising to you?
Actually, kinda. Because I mean,
Is
the entire
CGI
movie is
cheaper?
CGI, right?
Is like CGI cheaper now? Is that the one thing that's come down in price these days?
I guess I never understood why it's expensive.
Well, it's probably a labor thing, right? It's just like, but you know, like as we've seen recently, like they just work these guys into the ground anyways. Like,
Yeah.
And they're probably all salary, so it's just like, hey, like here's 150 grand for the year. You're gonna work 80-hour work weeks. They chain them to the computer.
Yeah, get my movie done, bitch.
Yeah, yeah. You want another job? You're
Ugh.
gonna have to finish this one, buddy.
You get this done, or you'll never work in this town again.
You work for you do one movie with Marvel, you'll never stop doing rom coms again. You're like you're just yearning for the simpler times. I just want to do indie movies from here on out.
I need you to understand I'm laughing because where's the market for CGI guys in rom coms?
There is none. There is none. They just want to do basic editing. They're like, I just want to fucking, I want to do white balance, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I want to adjust the lighting. That's all I give a shit about. I want to touch up some wrinkles, call it a day, dude. Maybe put a body double on somebody's fake nudity. Like, I just want to I want to be out on all of this. I don't even think they still do that. Remember that used to be a thing, having body doubles for nude scenes? I feel like
Yeah.
that's not really a thing so much anymore. I think people are just like going buck wild in movies.
I don't know. The
Back
nudies
on
launch a
course,
career
though.
now.
Back on back on course. Kong versus is it Godzilla Kong or Kong Godzilla?
Kong Godzilla? I just got it up. Godzilla Kong. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. A New Empire. Not to
The
be
New
confounded,
Empire.
but it could be the Frozen Empire. They probably just had that trademarked from a week earlier.
We'll get the crossover episode soon.
That'd be fucking cool. I'd love to see it. The Ghostbusters just get annihilated. They show up with their stupid little box trying to capture fucking Godzilla, dude.
Yeah, I mean that's a deleted scene. That encounter lasted all of like 10 seconds.
Bill Murray just gets like chomped up and thrown in the air. That'd be hilarious.
Kong just flicks him.
Yeah. So you historically have only seen Kong X Godzilla or Godzilla X Kong, right? Godzilla the
versus
X
Kong.
Kong. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only one you saw. And you've only watched it in the theater, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't remember shit.
No.
No, I didn't think so.
I remember Brian Tyree Henry in his podcast.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You saw a lot of yourself in him.
What you mean by that?
He has a podcast. You have a podcast.
What other
That's all.
similarities?
That's all.
So would you say you saw yourself in him?
I've been saying that for years. That's something that nobody listening to this will truly understand. I'm sorry. So, from your limited recollection, do you liked that movie?
Versus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you like this movie?
I like this movie more, I think.
Ooh, okay, that's interesting. I actually agree because I don't think I liked. So I've watched all of the like Godzilla and Kong films, like this whole franchise, a couple times over now, right? And I think that Godzilla vs Kong was the first one that I actually really didn't enjoy that much because and it's funny because this one's no more grounded than that one, but I just think they had done a good job of like the first two Godzilla movies were way more human focused and there was limited Godzilla and it made it feel more impactful. And then Skull Island, the Kong movie was fantastic. I thought it was really good. And it was like this weird thing where I don't know, like it just felt like a really like they tried jamming too many stories together in Kong versus Godzilla. And I think that what helps this movie is you eliminated a lot of those exterior characters because they tried to make like a super movie with Godzilla versus Kong, right? You took all the characters that you had in Godzilla, you took you brought in new characters for Kong because like you weren't, the original Skull Island took place in like the 70s or something, I believe it was. And you just tried to like meld too many stories together. And I think that like there was some really cool aspects of it, like the boat fight with
Oh
Kong
yeah,
and
yeah.
Godzilla was like super cool, right? Like there were definitely some things that were pretty awesome about that movie, but I thought most of the final act I didn't really enjoy, like the Mech Godzilla fight. Whereas this one, I think that you
I
you were
think
able to
your
bring that.
fights in this were a lot more rewarding.
Yeah, to a point, I do. We'll get into like further down the
Yeah.
line, like through spoilers, I guess. But yeah, I thought that there was just less to follow with this by eliminating like all the Godzilla characters for the most part, and just following strictly the Kong side of stuff from a human standpoint. And then you really like this movie truly felt like it was for the most part Godzilla and Kong's movie, and mostly Kong. This felt more like a Kong movie, which apparently there's like a trademark, and that's why they never really call him King Kong. Like
Oh really?
they call him King, and then they call him Kong, but they never like call him King Kong. And I guess there's a trademark thing that like that there's a reason why they don't do that,
Huh.
which I thought was kind of interesting.
Huh.
Thank you, TikTok, for that. um,
Still going strong.
Never will stop, dude. Never will stop.
Once they ban it.
I'll find a way, dude. VPN. I'll be in China real quick.
Yeah. Oh man.
So I thought that that helped the story a lot. Is like there was just easier to focus on. Story maybe a little paint by numbers. Like there's parts and I guess so. Definitely a thumbs up for me. Like if you're a person who enjoys the franchise as a whole, I like it. If you're a person who enjoys just like over the top CGI fest monster big screen movie like feel. I think it gives you a lot of that.
And it wasn't
You know,
offensive CGI either. It was good CGI.
no, everything looked good. I think that critically speaking, like I'm always going to have this thing now. There's life before -1, and then there's life after -1.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Because
Yeah.
honestly, I went into this thinking like -1 was gonna ruin monster movies for me for forever. And I didn't expect to enjoy this because of -1.
Well, I think that the reality is that like they are not the same movie,
No,
and
not
I
at
think
all.
I was able to tell myself that because I had to say a similar fear, I think, right? And again, I am gonna reinforce the statement here. Like there is life before -1 and then there's life after -1. Like there is not going to be monster movies or like movies that make you feel the way that -1 had the ability to from like a story perspective and a depth of character perspective and all these layers like but that's not what this movie was and I think that that's why I was able to at least personally be like grade this movie on its own. Like I'm not grading this versus -1 because like -1 didn't set out to be a smash 'em up monster movie. It trust me, it smashes them up. It
Yeah.
destroys some shit, right? But like it has like these emotional levels that like these movies were never going to strive to try and achieve. Like that's not what these movies were trying to do. And I think it's like when you just go into this more in the scope of like it's just another Marvel movie to a point. Except instead of superheroes, we have kaiju's or whatever. Like we've got like these
Titans.
like yeah, whatever the fuck they are. Same thing, right?
Sure, I think
Um,
so.
but
You
you know
might
what I
be
mean?
saying it
Like
in Japanese. I don't know.
yeah, I think I was, yeah. I'm fluent. But you know what I mean? Like they're just not the same league. And that's why I'm able to be like, yeah, like if you just want to see some mindless for the most part, like there's a storyline here for sure. Maybe like there's some nitpicking that we'll do with said storyline. But that's not what this was really here for either. It's like, do you like the way Godzilla came off? Do you like Kong? Do you like Diddy? Do you like Stegosaurus Iceman?
I don't think anybody likes Diddy right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. He likes himself though. He's still like dancing next to the pool and stuff in footage. It's like he's not a care in the world.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, like I think they're just two very different movies, and they don't need to be judged up against each other. So yeah, I recommend this if you are, into this style of movie. If you're just looking for something to a painless 2 hour watch, like a non offensive 2 hours in the movie theater. It takes full advantage of the visual effects, has good sound and like everything. I think it hits on most levels that you want it to.
Yeah.
So 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1 spoiler for anybody who doesn't know what that means. Let's get into, I guess, a little bit more detail. So like I from a story perspective, right? I thought the Kong storyline is a little weird. And this is one of those things where we do need to start doing the reviews a little bit more like close to when we actually watch the movie. Because
Yeah.
maybe I'm just not like I still don't understand what Kong was like. Kong's looking for his family and like just digging deeper and deeper into Hollow Earth, right?
Yeah.
So like I get that. But then like the whole goal of Scar King is to get back up. But
Yeah, I guess I didn't fully understand that part.
he's having all of his like slaves just moving rocks around and like digging holes. You're going the
Yeah.
wrong direction. He thought it was like going to China. He's like, I'll just keep digging straight through. Eventually, I'll find another hole.
I don't even know that they were digging. They were literally just moving rocks around.
Yeah, like what was his end game? Like he just gonna be there forever, just making people aimlessly move rocks around? And like if when we first run into this group of ragtag like street youths of the Scar King world, um like are we what, dude?
I just felt like it was towing a line, but moving on.
No, dude. Do you want me to bust out the soundboard, dude? Hold on. My bad.
I
Fuck.
didn't need you to.
Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to toe a line. I have limited sounds. I couldn't find a better one.
It's like womp 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 sucks. Deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I just did like so they knew that they could go other places, and I'm like, well, why weren't they just like roaming around this whole not lava filled like shithole? Like
Especially
why are
because
they
like he
all
was so turned up when he saw like their portal. But like, aren't they all over Hollow Earth?
there's definitely other ones, right? Because like we didn't
Yeah.
know about this one, like or like humans didn't know about this one. That was new to them. Like what made that particular one so special? Which like because especially when he finally comes out and he just like murks the humans who have been there for like a couple years now.
Yeah.
Like they've been down there for a couple years. And, like they're just guarding. Like that's not where the outpost is, but like it
Because
wasn't like a long
they didn't even
flight.
say like why he fucked up that outpost.
Mm-hmm.
Because
He
like
just
the
found
impression
humans.
was he was just chilling in that cave.
And what brought him out
So
of it.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Although I guess did that happen? That happens post Kong beefing with him, right?
No, that was before. Because remember, all we saw was his like eye looking into the camera, and we didn't know what it was yet.
But I guess Kong comes up for the tooth implant.
I'm pretty sure that was like before he encountered him. Because I remember
Okay.
when he first encountered him, they were laughing at his tooth.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Because like I was trying to figure out, well, like, but when Kong first finds Diddy, right?
Yeah.
What's his real name? Do you want me to stop calling him Diddy? Is that a
I don't
soft?
think he has a
Or is
real
that
name.
okay? No, he definitely does.
Does
I
he?
promise he does. Yeah, he does.
Shit.
Baby Kong, Lil
I,
Baby. You haven't found you can't like this.
dog,
Can't be
I'm
that.
trying.
He definitely has a name, dude.
I'm typing my search. You're supposed to fill for me.
All right. Hold on. You want me to play the drum fill? Hold on, I got you. Drum fill.
Suko.
Suko. Suko on knees, dude. They so like didn't he beef with like the three of them plus Suko?
Yeah.
Was like and then he goes up. So like did they go back to Scar King and we just didn't see this? And he's like, there's like some shit going on up there. Like there's more than what we know going on up there. But like, why wasn't he? Why was he for so long just okay without going and like? There's a whole other like Hollow Earth that he could have gone to.
I
Like,
still think he got the tooth before that, because I think he got to them by chasing them down there. Fuck, we're really not remembering this movie well.
yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just like some of the way
The timeline, yeah.
it just feels weird that like he wasn't more intrigued by going up there, right? Um, there's a whole family of humans that are still there that have just been hidden for a
Yeah.
billion years. The people that Mothra protects.
Yes.
Um, the little girl like dream sequence thing, kind of weird. I get it, like the distress signal and
It made
everything.
sense.
Yeah,
I think they
it was
explained
fine.
it well.
Do you think that like are are humans only necessary to this story to fill dialogue time?
Maybe, because I really don't even feel like this movie needed a ton of dialogue.
Well,
It
that's what I
didn't.
mean. Like a bulk of this movie is really just like you get enough out of Kong and little Suko like chilling without saying a word to each other,
Yeah.
right? Um, and then Godzilla, like we all like Godzilla is a very well defined character without us needing to ever hear him say a word. Like he's just like, I'm gonna fuck everything up. I don't really care. I don't
Yeah.
really care. He was just like, if I see a Titan, it's on site. And like sometimes that site will be I go to you where you've been chilling, and I'm just gonna be like, this is mine now. He's
Godzilla's whole mindset is just somebody drunk on Henny.
yeah.
He just looks at you and he's like, I could fuck you up.
Yeah. And his whole thing is he's like a high school bully.
Yeah, I can take him.
He's just going and running people for change in their pocket everywhere, except change is like nuclear power.
Yeah.
He's just jumping these little fucking titans upside down and being like, run your pockets for your nuclear energy.
Yeah.
Mine now, bitch.
Need that.
Yeah.
I'm charging up.
Something might be coming, dude. I'm charged up.
That was the other thing I don't get either. Like, so he knew where all that shit was, right? And like, just all of a sudden decides to charge up, has no idea what he's charging up for.
No, but he could just sense it, dude. And
he just
like,
has that foresight.
Yeah, like he could just tell like something feels a little off in the air, and I got to be ready for war. You know, you got to stay ready so you don't got to get ready. And he was just like, "There's going to be some shit coming." Like I can tell that Godzilla's being a little iffy. He's been popping up on my turf, and like he hasn't called for me yet, but that motherfucker calls for me. He's gonna get it.
And like the humans are all viewing Godzilla as like humanity's protection against the Titans, right?
He is like the great equalizer for the Titans. Yeah. The problem is like he is protecting humans, but he doesn't give a fuck about them. Like,
no,
he's like,
look how many cities they leveled.
I think they're like, well, at least he doesn't go after us intentionally to attack us. Like, we're collateral damage to everything that he does, but like, he doesn't go after us. A lot of these other ones, if we didn't have Godzilla, are just like coming after our city and fucking everything up.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, like thinking back, we already had a way in like the second movie, the Godzilla King of Monsters, is like basically the main human plot point is that like humans have found a way to like control Titans. And like Godzilla is the one we can't really control, but a lot of the other like smaller scale Titans, like we had found like the algorithm for like whatever they need to hear to like be communicated with.
Yeah.
And we could like control them. And this movie introduces the fact that like we've been using the Mech Godzilla technology from the third movie or Godzilla vs Kong to find ways to enhance King Kong in the event that we were ever going to have to like because I think they just would rather deal with Kong than ever deal with Godzilla because they're like we have a like a 15-year-old that can like talk with Kong and be like, yo, chill out. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
That's another weird thing, right? Because the way they communicate is sign language. Why is she the only one in this universe that knows sign language?
Well, I think it's more that he's the only one that she trusts because he found her.
Mm.
Like he found her and protected her. So he's known her like since he was kind of young and since she was a baby, or like since he was younger and she was a baby, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that that's more what it is they have a bond on a level of like he feels protective over her and trusts her. It's not that he can't understand when other people are talking to him in sign language.
He just doesn't give a fuck what other people got to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Like he would just like roll his eyes at the mom if she tried to like talk to him and be like, get your daughter. Like
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with your ass today. Like I'm good. I don't have time for you. Get the 15-year-old back.
Oh,
um,
man.
but yeah, I think that that's what it is like they were like, if we have to pick a side in this war, we're gonna pick Kong because he'll just go back to his like world down there and he'll just like kill food for sport and he's cool with just kind of like chilling.
Yeah.
Whereas Godzilla has destroyed like one of the wonders of the world and just turned it into his doggy bed. Motherfucker's just like curled up in the Coliseum, waiting for shit to pop off. And it's funny, he's in the Coliseum. You think he'd be like, come here, come see me. Like, I'm already at the battleground. You know?
Nah, he's
World's
like, nah,
oldest
this is my crib. We're not bringing the fight here. I'm coming to you. I'm fucking
and
your shit up.
He's straight, like, he's destructive in a disrespectful way. Like, he is.
The bridges.
Yeah, like, he doesn't need to destroy things. He just does it because he can. And he's like, try to say something. Like, that's why he's the ultimate bully. He's like, oh,
Do
you
something.
you have a fucking problem? Say something. Say something. See what happens.
Anything can happen.
He's swimming in shallow water, just knocking down bridges, killing people left and right. And then after he's knocked down every single bridge, is like, okay, time to go deeper. Like now, time to get like a little further into the water here.
Yeah,
he just doesn't care. How many like countries did he destroy in this movie? As he like just goes and accumulates power.
I don't have a count, but I'd say like 6 or 7 probably.
France and Brazil definitely.
Yeah.
There was Egypt, he's in
right?
Rome, right? So like Italy, Egypt. Yeah, because that's when he beefs with Godzilla with Kong, right?
Yeah. They're like fucking up the pyramids and shit.
So he was just like, he's like 4 countries in, just not caring. And he's already torn apart America.
And there's more that we're forgetting about.
Yeah, he did the whole gauntlet, dude. He went to Antarctica.
Did he? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't really like. Only thing he fucked up there was an idiot in a submarine. But
yeah, they deserve
it.
He's like, what are you looking at?
They're like, let's get a closer look. It's like, well, that was never going to be a good idea, dude. Like, this is like, of all the places to try and check out Godzilla, in the water is like the last one I'm trying to.
I also feel like technology's far enough that they could have sent like some remote controlled submarine down there. Like,
yes, dude. Like, because remember, like he drops that. We have like a Transformers moment in this movie with the Kong mech arm, where he flies the mech arm over him and just drops it onto him, and it does like all these crazy Transformer things on his hand.
Yeah,
and then it's just attached.
Yeah,
which was like kind of weird. I was like, this is very much lifted from like all of these movements and everything are just literally the movements I've seen in a Transformers movie.
Sure.
Did you like that? Because I feel like when we were watching the trailer, that was one of the things we were going to be skeptical of was the mech.
Like, where did it come from? Yeah.
What do you think of the mech arm?
I don't hate him having the mech arm. I hate how they explained it. The whole thing about, oh yeah, we have this project that's almost done. They kept saying almost done, like nearly done, right? So the whole time I'm thinking...
They said it got turned, like it was done, but it got shut off by the powers that be.
No. They kept saying nearly completed, but the project got shut down. So I kept waiting for a point where the arm would fail or something because it wasn't completed.
I mean, maybe they meant the rest of the suit. And they were like, well, lucky we only need the hand.
Maybe, yeah. That's great that they were trying to design a whole suit. And of all things, They designed the one hand he happened to fuck up.
This is my strong hand.
Yeah. Take my
Um,
strong hand.
so I didn't have I kind of liked it, right? Like I didn't think I was gonna like it, but it was cool seeing him like armored up.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we continue to get more of that down the line.
Yeah.
I like, and we're not even through the movie yet to get to like, I wonder where they're gonna go from here. Like, how much more story is left to tell?
Not much, really.
You say that, but I have to imagine there's a decent amount.
The
Like
problem is, like, the problem with Hollywood is they're making money from it. So yeah, they're gonna go and make another movie just because there's still money to be made.
yeah, there is for sure. There's not fatigue on this franchise yet, as has shown, and I think movies like this draw really well internationally. Obviously, Godzilla has a very strong presence, overseas and shit. So,
Yeah.
uh, it's one of the few movies that I think they know if you come out with it, it's not just going to draw in the U.S. Like you can get double your revenue from outside of the U.S., which I don't know that there's a ton of movies that have that drawing ability any longer. Like even Marvel at this point is struggling with drawing, and like now Marvel has more than 3 or 4 times the movies at this point that the Godzilla
I think a
franchise has
large
in
part
the
of it
US.
though is like we said early on when we were talking about this movie, it's not dialogue heavy, so it's easily adaptable to like any language.
Well, and have you seen this new shit? I think this was I don't know if I saw this on the YouTube short or what, but have you seen the new AI technology for translation in movies?
No.
So instead of like actors needing to redo their lines in another language or dub the lines, like there's AI technology that basically just redoes all of the dialogue and makes the mouth look like it's moving properly. So you don't even have to do that work any longer.
Skynet.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of I feel like that'll make international viewing better though, right? Like even for us
Yeah.
here. Like the amount of movies that I come across on Netflix that I'm like, "Oh, that seems kind of interesting," but then I see it's dubbed and I'm like, "I'm not going to get into this." Like cuz it's like the dialogue's going to feel really fake and like
Yeah.
weird.
It almost
Like
sounds like a soap opera.
yeah, it takes away the immersion to the movie and
The
like that's like I think that that's going to work both ways really really well. So we're going to end up I think we'll end up finding more movies that are of interest. I wonder if we end up seeing more movies find their way into US movie theaters now because of something like that. And I also wonder if that takes away the need for US remakes, right?
mm,
Like these movies getting remade in the United States 5 6 years after they come out somewhere internationally with American actors. I wonder if you don't need to see that any longer. And to continue on to that point, I wonder if you see the rise of new like actors because of the ability to
like all of a
make
sudden, like French actors or Japanese actors or wherever all of a sudden have some recognizability here in the US.
yeah, like some level of fandom that they get established here that isn't just from a niche audience because they're able to go into a movie theater with a movie that looks more naturally dubbed, like just is more Americanized in that way. The same way that I mean, I think like movies from here primarily can do well. Like there's definitely a hit that they take, but like great movies here that are more palatable, like your Marvels, like your Godzillas, whatever, generally do pretty well over it. But like we're just looking at the fact that we already talked about Godzilla minus one, but like that's the highest grossing like dubbed movie of all time, right? Like it's
Not dubbed, subbed.
sub, that's what I mean, sorry. But like that it has like in America, a movie has to be of that quality to draw people in to see it in the theater. Like you're not going and seeing a subbed movie unless it's like Dragon Ball or some shit in the theater, unless it's
Uh,
gotten this like considerable buzz because of it being so like unanimously loved, you know?
yeah.
Um so what did you think of the villain, Scar King?
I think he was a good villain. He was a fucking asshole.
I thought I liked him a lot in the beginning. I thought he kind of like so he can't like fight with Kong on
Without
a
the thing.
yeah, like so on like a strength level, he can't really beef with Kong. And once they gave Kong the mech arm, it really took away the one advantage that he had over him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it almost like the mech arm like overplays, like it doesn't level the playing field. It kind of skews it back too heavily into Kong's favor.
So it does, but I think Kong was already stronger than him. Like
Well, that's
Kong
what I
was
mean.
already whooping his ass. It was just he had the ice dragon thing under his control.
Well, so then but then I guess my point that it leads me to is like, other than drawability of having both Kong and Godzilla in this movie as a way to get people to go see it and entice people to see it, does that final fight play out better if Godzilla is not involved to a point? Because like when you really look at it, Kong already is stronger than Scar King, right? But now you add in the fact that it's essentially Kong like on juice.
But
Like,
it was a 2v2 match, so it was still
but
basically
it's
Kong
but
versus Scar King and
in a
Godzilla
way it
versus
is. In a way it is. It's not even 2v2, it's 3v2 because there's still
oh, because Suko came up, yeah.
Zuko's there, right? But realistically, he already could have dealt with that like weapon with the thing to control little Stegosaurus Iceman. And do we got a name for him? We probably do.
I'll get you one.
um, but you know what I mean? Like it's like one of those things where like we already kind of leveled that playing field by giving Kong the mech arm as a way to deal with that aspect of like the difference in the one thing that made Scar King more powerful, to where like I think it just skews so much heavier in the favor when you add Godzilla as the sidekick in this. It's not like you took some like, it'd be one thing if it was Kong and Suko like
Yeah.
needing to like figure out a way to get away the whip with the little talisman on the end that controls Stegosaurus Iceman. Like if
Shimo.
we Shimo,
Yeah.
I like my name.
Honestly,
So
I do too.
but it's like it's not like you added like a bit player. You were like, oh, like let's get the other most dominant force. Mind you, the one that banished Scar King in the first place. Like the one
Yeah.
that like fucked him up in the first place. And you'd think the beef would more so be with Scar King being like, oh, this motherfucker again?
No.
Oh, I'm getting mine back. Like, like we're gonna run once again, you know, like come see me, Godzilla, you know?
Yeah.
And instead his real beef is just like, oh, it's another ape. Like you're gonna challenge me for my pride of apes. No, ain't happening.
Okay.
It just felt
Maybe
like,
he knew the whole war was already lost, but he wanted to try and at least win that fight against Kong.
but the war wasn't really lost. I mean, he got through to Earth, right? Like
If he was smart, he would have brought the whole gang with him.
he couldn't though. I think that that was the issue.
Oh yeah, because the gravity thing.
Yeah, yeah. Like they got through in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't like. I think they had done a good job of building him up, and like to a point, I think that they instead of making him as primal as I think that they did, and I think it makes sense because he hasn't had a lot of contact outside of those apes for a very
Yeah.
long time. So like, but I think you almost needed to make him a bit more intelligent to like equal out. Like there wasn't in that last fight. I think if there was more wit in it, like more strategy from him, that
Yeah,
kind of
he
levels
was
the
pretty
play.
much an idiot in that last
Yeah.
fight.
Like everything is very primal. Like everything is very much like rage. Like we're just gonna throw down. And if you're just gonna throw down straight up with a combination of Godzilla and Kong, you're not he was never gonna win that fight. Like
Yeah.
that I think that that's like one critique I would have is like there isn't a lot of drama to this movie in the sense of like Kong gets his ass whooped once and gets his hand frozen and like goes through it, but they immediately give him a solution that makes him substantially more powerful than the villain. And I think that that's like the one thing I would say is like you almost should have. And honestly, we're not even mentioning like Mothra's aspect of this, right? Like, and
Because
we
I don't
maybe
really
missed.
feel like Mothra did much.
No, not a ton, but she did the most important thing because we're missing like the funniest part of the movie, really. and it's when Godzilla and Kong first see each other, and Godzilla's like just trying to go ask for help,
He's
and
like, wait.
yeah, yeah, like back, whoa, 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 big guy, like, and he just like gets thrown through the pyramid of Giza.
Yeah.
Because again, like Godzilla is like playing for keeps at all times in this movie.
Yeah.
Even though it's a Kong movie, like Godzilla way what comes off way more as like you just don't fuck around with this guy. Like he's not
Right.
making friends. He's only into the game off. Like that's the only thing that he really gives a shit about. is
My God.
is the moth that's controlled again. Like that 15-year-old girl is the most powerful monster in the MonsterVerse. She
Yeah.
can control Kong and Mothra. How crazy is that?
I don't know
Also,
if it's
like,
control as much as it is an alliance.
yeah, but like to a point, it's like if she asks Kong to do anything, Kong like does it.
Kong's like, yeah, I'm gonna ride out.
Yeah, like no questions asked is going to do it. And Mothra is like her spirit animal.
Quite
And
literally,
I
yeah.
and like so and like also so like I don't know if they say this in the movie or if I just heard this after the movie. So like that's the same Mothra that dies in King of Monsters. And I guess like Mothra can die, like has infinite lives. So as long as Mothra can plant an egg or lay an egg rather, prior to dying, she just reincarnates over and over again with all her previous memories.
Mm.
So she knows all of the stuff that's happened previously. This is just her latest incarnation that you're seeing.
Okay.
Um, so like she's like, oh, okay, like Godzilla and me are cool. Like, let me chill this guy out. And he for some reason sees her and is like, oh, all right, sweetie, we're good. For some reason, I'm in love with a moth and I'm a giant ass lizard.
Damn shit. My V, let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah, and she's like feelings aren't reciprocated. Like I'm
Yeah.
not into you. Like
Out.
yeah, yeah. Godzilla wasn't blue forever for any other reason than he ain't getting none. He's all backed up. um, so yeah, that's the best part of the movie, right? Is like that scene between the two of them.
Yeah. Well, I think my favorite
Not,
part is still Suko getting ragdolled as a weapon.
you're right. Actually, no, you're right. That is actually comedically the funniest part of the movie. He's just Kong just gets pissed off and picks up a tiny ape and starts beating the fuck out of other apes with him.
Yeah.
Just swinging him like a club.
Dude, just swinging him like he was his axe. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's like okay. So like I said at the beginning, and like because whenever we do this, right? Whenever we do these reviews, I think inherently we end up focusing a lot on the negatives or being like critical of things, or at least I do.
yeah.
Uh, and it's I think at some point it maybe feels like there's a lack of enjoyment. But it, I don't want to call this a dumb movie, right? But like to a point, it's
It's a
like
movie that's focused more on its action than its story.
like him swinging around Suko as a bat is inherently dumb, but it's also like super enjoyable to
Yeah.
see happen, right? Like those are the things that make these movies fun and enjoyable. To where you'll get like you're like, I like this. Like it might be the dumbest thing in the world. And there's a million like plot points that I'm just like, okay, like a little weird, whatever, like, but you don't want to be critical of it because you're like, this is just very funny that this is the way this is happening.
No.
So you don't think that there's anywhere that they can really go from here? I don't know what you do next, but there's a million
I didn't
different.
say I don't think there's anywhere they can go from there. I just don't think there's a clear road of progression.
Well, here's the thing. I think if we were like fans of Godzilla, like actual fans of the Godzilla franchise, we would know about the Titans that are like. There's going to be more Titans that are bigger and bigger, and hopefully, like this is only the beginning of Kong and Godzilla having like a working relationship, right? And there will be a time where I sit there and watch one, and I'm like, well, this is the first time I've seen like a big boss that feels like it's at the level to go against and match Kong and Godzilla. And maybe this was just a taste of that, like seeing them build a relationship so you get that next thing. Because like now Kong has established himself as like, even though they're not calling him it as King Kong, right? Like he is
Yeah.
the king of Hollow Earth at this point, and
Yeah, none of
Godzilla
y'all
is
can fuck
very
with him.
yeah, and Godzilla has very much established like don't come to Earth level or I will come fuck your world up. Don't question that. Like I will. So some shit wants to come down from space and be like, I'm the ruler of space, and like we got to like see Godzilla throw down, and maybe next movie like Godzilla has to go down to Kong and be like, yo,
Yo, come back me up.
yeah, I need some help, bro.
Bring
And
the
like,
gang.
yeah, and Kong like just starts punching him, like as Godzilla's like short arms are like, no,
Nah, Godzilla ain't the type to back down from nobody.
no, Godzilla would rather die.
Yeah.
Like Godzilla's shown that in these movies at this point.
I'm
Like,
telling you, Godzilla's consistently off the henny.
yeah, he's like so set in his ways that he's like, you will kill me here before I ask anybody for help, but you will take so much damage to kill me. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Like you won't leave the same way you came in if you think you're gonna fight me and win.
Catch me at the
Um,
nuclear plant.
so what'd you end up rating this? Where'd you end up dropping it?
Let's see. I'm pretty sure I gave it 3 stars. Where's my fucking list? I should have been ready. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I also gave it 3 stars.
Yeah, I gave it 3 stars and it's at 5th on my list.
I am at 3 stars and it's on at fourth on my list. So you have one more movie than me, or with three more movies than
And
me.
the one movie I have ahead of it that you don't have ahead of it is Arthur the King.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I tried seeing that this week. It didn't pan out.
No,
No.
I think you would like that one.
Yeah. It's like I told you this yesterday. Like I ended up going and hanging out with you and Kai, and like that was the one that I was planning on getting
Gotcha.
out of the way yesterday. So yeah, I still just have Dune, Beekeeper, and Origin in front of it.
Yeah.
And Origin is going to continue to be this one that's like really weird for me all year because it's going to be nothing like anything else that's on my
The
list.
problem is we don't watch enough dramas to really have anything to compare to that.
Yeah, and I felt like I was smarter leaving that movie, and like
Yeah.
depressed too, like sad about shit. Like I don't know, it made you like your mind go in a lot of different directions. So I think that like movies that make you think like that, I just think artistically I should have it above something like this.
Yeah.
But at the
But
same
we
time,
still
I'm a
have it behind
Beekeeper.
Beekeeper.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, what do you want, dude? I loved when he fucking threw that guy off the bridge. Like, it was really fun. I like the idea of a guy. Like, I see enough people get hacked and taken advantage of by these virus scams that I really related to that movie. I was like, that should happen.
Hey, bro, it's a movie that knows its objective and it did it well.
Cool. Let's get into some like I don't have a lot of news here this week, and then we'll get into the taste test. We'll burn through like three quick little pieces here though. Okay, so first of all, have you watched Roadhouse yet?
Both.
You watched both.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's save the reviews. I'll let you save those for taste test. I don't want to burn your shit now. I do just want to mention this quick piece. Roadhouse has become the most viewed Prime Video film ever.
Oh, shit.
With 50 million views so far for Amazon Prime. Which goes to show what I've said in the past. Like Amazon is one of those things that like even if people don't know they have it, like everybody has Amazon Prime and they just don't know it. And like they will forever have the ability to probably draw the most one-time viewership of like any streaming platform if they really put out solid material.
For a long time, I was against Prime Video too. I just felt like I didn't find a ton on there for me. But lately, I've been finding a lot of hitters on there. So
they have like solid show. I mean, like coming off of watching Reacher and now like
I even mean the movies.
Yeah, they have some like it's one that I scroll through every now and again and find some stuff. You remember like that Michael B. Jordan, Tom Clancy, like the Without Remorse.
Oh yeah.
Was fun. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of crazy. 50 million views, like kind of justifies Conor McGregor being like the highest paid like first time actor of all time, basically.
Oh really?
I think that was the stat. He could have said that though, and who knows how true it is. But um,
Connor Mack.
it's still pretty crazy, right? For a guy like because that's partially drawn on the if that's just a normal Jake Gyllenhaal thing, like I don't think it draws the same way as like the intrigue of being like, oh, Conor McGregor's acting now. Like, let me
Yeah, like, oh, this is his
check
first
that
role.
out.
Let's see what he does.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay, next up. Do you remember the movie Freaky Friday?
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan, right?
Yeah, and Jamie Lee Curtis. Did you like it?
Think so. I
They're
don't
making
really
a
remember
second.
much from it. Oh, what?
They're making a second one. Yeah. Or it's in
With
the
who?
process of being made with them. So Lindsay Lohan
Lindsay
has
Lohan is coming back to Hollywood?
she just had a Netflix movie drop like 2 weeks ago.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she had like a Netflix rom-com drop like 2 weeks ago. I couldn't bring myself to watch it because I just have to imagine she's a terrible actress.
It's a
Um,
rom com. That's your
I
lane, bro.
trust me, dude, but like I have lines and like I've always said, like most of the reason I watch stuff is because of the actresses or actors involved. And I don't think Lindsay Lohan is an act like I just feel like I'm gonna be watching it and being like, wow, this is bad. Like she's just reading the script basically back to me, you know? Um, and I don't know why, like all of a sudden she's popping back up in making moves in Hollywood again.
Must
But
need some money.
I don't know. Do you think so?
I don't know. I feel like that's the reason people come out of retirement. Not saying she was in retirement, but she was definitely out of the game for a good amount of time.
Yeah, like she was definitely I don't know if it was like self-imposed retirement. I don't know if it like she had like obviously she had a pretty like troublesome early 20s, I would
Yeah, yeah,
suppose.
yeah.
And she took the time to like clean her life up and I'm sure it was part of it is like being responsible about cleaning her life up to where like not coming back too soon and falling back into the same things that were kind of the downfall because much like I kind of equate her and Amanda Bynes in the same world
The
as like
whole
when I was
child actors getting fucked up.
well like of my youth, right? Like
Yeah,
and
yeah.
again you're a few years younger than me, but like of my youth, like I think Lindsay Lohan, like Amanda Bynes, like these were people that when they were on TV when I was a kid, you kind of felt like they were going to be actors that you grew up with, watching them like
Yeah.
go on, kind of like what you've seen for an Efron, right?
Well, because like you did grow up with them a little bit for a little period of time. You know what I mean?
Well, I think I am like the same age as Amanda Bynes, and I think Lindsay Lohan's probably only a year or two older than me at most.
Mm.
So like I think that like you looked at those are the people you saw. Shia LaBeouf being another one
Yeah.
where it's like you saw them on screen when you were a kid, you identified that they were talented, and you started to see them pop up in whether it was like Disney movies at the time, or maybe like in Efron was in that like 17 again, or like some other like he was just kind of slowly breaking his way into Hollywood, and you're like this they're going somewhere. Like I remember seeing them on like whatever it was, like when they were way younger.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan. It's like you
Yeah.
remember that stuff. Um, and I think that Amanda Bynes is like worst case scenario, unfortunately, at this point. And I still haven't watched the Nickelodeon doc, and I wonder how much of that is stuff that affected what happened to her.
I think there was a
Because
whole episode about her.
yeah, because she's like worst case scenario. Unfortunately, like I feel really bad saying that because like she seems like she's trying her best. But it's weird to go and watch like how good she was on all that and like the Amanda show. And she was like this like goofy, funny person. And then she did do like she basically got like Channing Tatum's acting career going
Really?
with that movie She's the Man.
Ah, okay.
I think that was like she pushed for Channing Tatum to be in that movie, if I remember correctly. But like she was a person who was like out of all of them, in all honesty, because did you like her? Did you ever watch her TV show? After like What I Like About You, I think his name.
No.
It was pretty good. Like it ran for like 6 seasons or something. And it was like Jenny, Garth, and her. And it was pretty enjoyable for like the time it was on. And it just felt like she was like growing up and like you saw her until her early 20s. Then all of a sudden it's just like the world fucking hit her hard, dude.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately in the past few years, you hear stories about her, like, she got put on, the same thing that Britney Spears got put on, where, like, her parents control her money
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
all of that shit, and, like, she's, like, walking through the streets of, like, LA, and people are, like, taking pictures of her, just roaming the streets by herself, and you're like, "Wow," like, that's
Looking
where
all
she is now,
fucked
and
up. Yeah,
yeah, and you look at pictures of her now, and it's like her face is really swollen, she's got face tattoos, and it's I've seen like she has a podcast, and like I don't know if they still do episodes or stuff, but like that was a tough one to watch when like clips would pop up from that.
damn.
But so like getting back to the main point here, like Lindsay Lohan, I think I was kind of in the same boat where like she was definitely a person where people were like, oh, this girl's gonna be around for a long time. And then she hit like early 20s and she was in like the Hilton crew and like all of that group and like her life just I think she did drugs and drank and all that stuff and
Yeah,
like her life just kind of went to shit for a while and you wonder if she pulled herself out of Hollywood to live a better lifestyle and now it's like I'm older, I'm in my 30s, like I'm mature enough to take on the responsibility and maybe I can get my like I still have a lot of time left that I can act, you know? But it's weird to the one thing that makes you question is a money grab is like Hallmark level Netflix movies, and then like Jamie Lee Curtis just seems like a very nice person, especially to other females in Hollywood. If you just follow her on like Instagram and stuff. She's a very big like I saw this movie and like I'm gonna post about like how awesome this person was and how good this movie was and it blew me away. And like just always putting like positive spins on like other actors or actresses that she likes in Hollywood. And I think, she knew Lindsay Lohan when she was a teenager, and wants to like see if she can help her, is what I'd have to imagine.
yeah.
But they're trying to figure out if this will go to theaters or if it'll go to um streaming. I have to imagine it's like a
It sounds like a streaming thing.
it probably should be a streaming thing. Apparently the Netflix whoever like runs Netflix or something was like upset about the production um and viewership of the movies that they've put out over the past year. I read like a quick little thing about that.
Hmm.
And it got me thinking. I'm like, yeah, Netflix like I watched Code 8, like that was fun, but I don't think it like drew a ton of viewership. It's not
I
going to
just
draw
think
like
there's these
subscribers.
other streaming platforms that are putting way more production value into their shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that there is a higher production value that you get from the Amazon movies, but I don't really think of like what other streaming services are having like big movies that they're producing and coming out.
Apple TV.
I don't really consider them like I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but like I guess in my head I don't equate them in the same world as I do Netflix when it comes to streaming.
I mean, and then you can look at like Max or Paramount, but like,
They don't produce their own content really.
yeah,
Like they're buying content generally
yeah.
to be on their platform.
I mean,
Whereas like
so is Netflix in a lot of
but I think
cases
they're
too.
speaking directly to
Their
their
produced
Netflix
content.
produced content
Okay.
and the quality. And I think we've talked about it in the past. It's like I think that they thought by signing deals with
Like
specific
actors,
actors
yeah.
would be the way to draw eyes to be like, hey, we're the home of Adam Sandler, we're the home of Kevin Hart, we're the home of a lot of Ryan Reynolds products that are coming out. Like they tried to do a lot of that. And I think that like the Kevin Hart stuff at least, and a majority for that matter, it is cool. I think that like the Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler stuff does well, but I don't think that any of his other stuff has done or been particularly interesting that has been direct to Netflix. And I just think that like we've talked about it in the past few weeks about like there's like the Ricky Stenicki where it feels like it could be a movie theater comedy,
Yeah.
and then there is the Netflix stuff that very much feels like
All this
a
stuff feels like straight to streaming, yeah.
streaming service comedy, like the Kevin Hart stuff. He's a great salesman, but like none of his stuff feels like it's movie theater quality. It feels like it's recycled Hollywood and recycled Kevin Hart stuff.
Yeah.
So
Like he even did his whole PR stunt about talking about his action star group chat trying to promote his movie and I still don't think that many people watched it. I haven't watched it.
No, I look at the trailer and I'm like, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And it's sad because like that should be like a hey, I'm not doing anything tonight. Like throw this movie on and as far as actors, there was a time where Kevin Hart would be a reason to click on a movie, but I think he's lost a lot of that credibility at this point. I think I want to see Kevin Hart just do like the buddy cop thing
Yeah.
again. Like whether it's We Gotta Ride Along 3 or, something like that. Like I think he's best when he's paired up with another recognizable actor and you see them like bounce off of each other more than him trying to carry a movie as like the leading actor.
Yeah. He's a better supporting character.
I still think he's a lead, but I think that he needs a strong lead with him.
Okay.
I don't think supporting, like, I don't want to see him go, but like, I watched the movie About Last Night recently.
Not familiar.
That is with black dude with the super blue eyes. You look up the cast for About Last Night. Mike Easley, I think is his name. Michael Easley.
Okay.
You'll recognize him when you see his face. Um, it's got like maybe Tiara Henderson or something. But it's like a rom com, and like this was like 8-9 years ago, and like that's him in like a supporting role. Like I don't think you're gonna
Oh,
see him.
that guy. Okay. Yeah, Michael Ealy.
Ely, yeah. He like I don't think you're gonna see Kevin Hart playing second fiddle to people, but I think him having another strong lead goes a long way. And like more the straight man to his jokes, like the way Ice Cube or The Rock play off him.
What are you doing looking at this man's eyes?
You can't see him and not look in his eyes. That's not gay. I feel very comfortable in this.
Okay.
Put him up on the screen. Put him up on the screen, Dante. Show these people what he looks like. Nobody is going to question me on this. He's a handsome man with nice eyes, dude. Could swim in them.
Yep.
Okay, good. Let's go full screen. Let's show them.
You want full screen, huh?
I want people to see the eyes. Like
Oh
what
my
you're
god.
showing right now is not, it's just a little thumbnail. Like they're not really grasping. Like those eyes
You
don't
want
show
them
up.
in the
They don't,
eyes.
but
I
you know
gotcha.
damn well that those eyes are popping right now.
They are very blue.
Those are beautiful eyes.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it's gay, but I might be a little gay for it.
That's your one, huh?
He might be a man crush of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
He made your top 5. Okay.
Yeah. We can do that some week. You want to do that?
I don't know.
Because I will draft him.
We're gonna make a list of top 5 men you'd go gay for.
Yeah, and I have diversity in mind. Okay, last bit of news. It's a movie I don't think you've ever seen, but I would tell you, like, and I would highly recommend you see it. It's a great movie. We finally got confirmation that Ready or Not 2 is in the works.
Okay.
With Samara Weaving, returning to reprise her role as the lead actress in it. And I was a huge fan of the first movie, and they kind of set it up with the idea that there could be a sequel at some point. And it's been like I think it came out in 2018. So we're like 6
19.
years since the movie, 2019, so 5 years. And I've just been like, I've looked it up, like I feel like once or twice a year, being like, is this like when are we gonna get an announcement? Because generally, if you're gonna get a sequel to a movie like this, you get confirmation of it, like within a
Either in
year,
that year or
maybe
the year
two
after, yeah.
2 years. So them taking this far in between is kind of crazy, but it was a fantastic movie. Like the perfect kind of horror movie for what I love. It's not a horror movie, it's more of like an action slasher, I would say, like or a dark comedy slasher.
Okay.
So it's a really fun movie. It's got some like pretty funny parts with some fun kills in it, and she's a great like final girl in it. So I was a big fan. And I just wanted to shout it out. Like my response, literally, I tweeted when I saw the first screenshot of it. I was like, about time. Like this is long overdue that this happens. But cool. Dante.
Do you have it?
Do
you have it?
you
Taste.
have it?
Oh. I didn't know where you were going with that. That is not how we do this.
Taste.
Nailed it.
All right. So you want to talk Roadhouse?
Let's get it.
You watch both.
Yeah.
All right. Let's first just get it out of the way. Which one's better?
Original, hands down.
Can we agree that the original might be the most fun movie of all time?
I mean, like 80s action movies are goated, and like this is definitely like that.
It's like outrageous and
Yeah.
like so fun the whole way through. And it's like cheesy. I mean, I've done my review on this so many times, so I'll let you like handle some of this, but it is like Patrick Swayze doesn't know how ridiculous it is, but like that's what makes it even better.
Yeah. I almost wish so. Like, I watched the original before I watched the remake, and I wish I did it the other way around.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it took away from the
I
remake.
think it, yeah, I think it caused me to not like the remake as much because of how much I enjoyed the original.
Yeah, it's like because I think well, but I think it allows you to be critical of the remake because I think that there's a world where people can watch the remake and be like, oh, like this was just a fun movie.
Yeah.
But the reality is the original still holds up in a way that you don't need the remake to be like this is a fun movie. Like you could just put
No, I
on
mean, like you've
the
said it
original.
before too. Like, if you're gonna remake a movie, add something to it.
Yeah. And instead, like this actually, I think, has like less in some ways
Yeah, there was
than the
some parts of the
original.
story that were way less developed than the original. Like the
There was
relationship between the Doc and
yeah,
Dalton
yeah, like that's way better and
in the original. Yeah,
it's a major plot point as to why there's more animosity between Dalton and that family. And also like the power that the villain in the original has over the town is felt so much more than the
and
power that he has in the remake.
yeah, like in the remake, these guys are just a joke.
Yeah, right. Like, and they really are just going after the Roadhouse. Like, they've already gotten their hands all over everything else, as
Yeah,
opposed to in the original, it's like he starts going after everybody that Dalton associates with. And they kind of try to do that with him going after the bookstore in this
yeah,
one. But I don't think you feel it the same way that you
because they
do
didn't
when he
even
goes
show
after
you any of that.
no, like you don't feel it the same way you do with the automotive store. And like the
Yeah,
fact that there was a relationship between the girl and the owner of the auto, like that was her pseudo father, right?
yeah,
And then like the scene at the car dealership where they just have a monster truck run over like every single car. Like, dude, there's
and he
just
just
shit.
stands there like, I'm the fucking man. Do something about it.
Yeah, like there's just shit throughout that movie where you're like, this is just balls to the wall the whole time, and it's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
It's so awesome.
yeah,
Even the scenes at the bar, like the fight scenes are better choreographed, I would say, for the most part in the remake. Like the
yeah.
bar fight scenes, except for maybe the
Well,
final fight between Swayze's Dalton and
oh, okay. I
um
was gonna say the final fight in the remake was definitely like really good.
it is very good, but I still
Yeah,
think the fight that same fight but in the original, um when he rips the throat,
yeah.
like tell me that that's not a part that is glaringly missing from the remake. Like if you're gonna remake it, how are you
They
remaking it?
swapped that for the dude getting eaten by the crocodile.
Like I need that throat rip. Like that throat and like I don't know, like the throat rip in the original is like that girl's like, wait, I might be dating a psychopath.
Yeah,
Like it's like a very eye-opening moment for her.
yeah.
And you just don't necessarily get the same thing here.
No, they definitely didn't tender the relationships the same way.
No. Um
I also feel like Gyllenhaal didn't play like the cool, calm, and collected character the same way that Swayze did.
no, he was way more of the comic relief, and I thought he was relatively funny
Yeah,
for it. Like I think he did an okay job. Don't get me wrong. Like I didn't mind his Dalton. I do think that like I'd be way more intimidated by Swayze's Dalton
oh yeah, 100%.
than I am by
Well, I think the other thing too is like Swayze's Dalton was definitely more struggling to find the word. I guess more bulletproof, right? Like the
yeah.
man was just an unstoppable force.
I did like the very first time you meet Dalton and he gets into the fight at the Roadhouse the first time in the remake, like when he's just kind of like, "Where's the hospital?" Like and
Oh
kind of works
yeah, yeah.
through that. Like I thought that that was an enjoyable
It
introduction
felt
to the
very like
character.
Equalizer esque.
Yeah, like I thought that that was a fun introduction, and then if him having to drive them all to the hospital like was
I
very
like the
funny.
one dude that just clearly shouldn't have been in the gang.
Yeah, yeah. Who he gets away like he's the one who lives.
Because he's the one that answers. It's about 25 minutes. Depends how fast you drive.
um, yeah, and like so, just like to get the what do you think of the Conor McGregor role?
I mean, Conor McGregor's Conor McGregor. I liked it.
Yeah, it was like it's not like the
It
best acting job
well,
you'll ever see.
that's the thing though. He wasn't acting. He was literally just
Yeah,
being Conor McGregor.
it was just like very authentically him turned up to 11 like at
Yeah.
all times. The funniest thing that like somebody pointed out is like the running bit of him not actually knowing how to park is very funny in that movie. Like
I didn't even
he
catch that
just
actually.
he literally runs into something every time he parks his car.
Oh, who parked these bikes there?
Like every time he parks, he just slams into something.
They definitely even turned that up to 11 when he slams into the tree casually.
You know, just gets out with a huge smile on his face. Him like walking, like the first time you meet him, and him just like getting
He does
kicked
the
out of
Conor
lunch from
McGregor walk.
butt ass naked,
Yeah.
and then just steals clothes and literally lights the whole thing on fire with a huge smile on his face. Yeah,
No,
he's
he was
unhinged.
a good villain.
Yeah, it was fun. Like it was like like I at least appreciate that it didn't try to take itself like overly serious.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like I think it was the right thing to go to streaming. I
Yeah,
don't.
it definitely wasn't a movie theater movie. It would have been
I think it would have done
dogged a lot
okay.
more if it was in a movie theater.
Exactly. I think it would have done okay for a first week box office because of the allure of Connor and like Jake Gyllenhaal is established. It has the name Roadhouse. So I think it would have done good enough to justify its existence from a financial standpoint in the movie theater. But I think to your point, it would have gotten critically killed
Yeah.
way further because of the expectations put on it by going into the theater.
Yeah.
And I think that it wouldn't have had good second and third week returns because of that.
No.
Because anybody who's waiting to see how it panned out, as far as like, hey, I really like the original. Let me see like what people are saying about this, and maybe I'll go check it out. When most people, I think, who were huge fans of the original, like I, I think there was like this is a weird movie if you follow like online conversation about it because I do think that there was a crowd of people who did genuinely enjoy it, but I think
Yeah.
there were a lot of people that were like, yeah, I mean, it was fine, but like it didn't need to be made, you know,
No, it
and like
definitely didn't need to be made, but I liked it. It's just I literally watched it back to back. I watched the original and then I watched that.
yeah,
And
yeah, it's
so
a tough.
drawing those comparisons, I was just like, it's not doing it the same way.
Yeah, like the Zen Dalton to like
Yeah.
in the first one, like you got none of that in there.
He's
Like,
like unstoppable but cool, calm, and collected the whole way through.
mhm. And you get why that chick like is like interested in him.
Yeah.
You know, and like we never got the phone call to the best friend to be like, hey, like come help me clean up this bar. Like, which is like those are
Yeah.
emotional parts that I think like add to the
Yeah, because I was
first movie.
definitely
Like
waiting
those,
for like Wade to show up and like that never happened.
yeah, like those layers I think genuinely really help the first. The character, there's a way more diverse cast in the original and
Yeah.
like where more characters to be interested in and like appreciate. Yeah, for sure. Um the Ones Who Live ended this week. Um divisive finish from online response to the series.
Yeah.
Um mostly because they burned through a ton of story in this movie in this episode. They went like I think a lot of people thought you were going to get a little bit more of a cliffhanger finish and stuff
Oh,
to set up
did they like
previous
speed run
seasons.
this final episode?
They blasted through a lot of stuff, and I enjoyed the episode. I understand the criticisms of it, in the sense that like they wrapped up a lot of stuff, and there was characters that you would have liked to have seen them be able to continue on and flesh out more,
Yeah.
from a villain standpoint going forward. But they burned through it, and it made for like I think like a pretty balls to the wall episode and there was some like eye-opening things. But like straight down to the like, and I'm getting the vibe that I'm the only one who's gonna listen to this or like who's talking about this and nobody's listening, and like I really like care about what happened in this, so I can just talk freely. Like right down to the reunion, you get the reunion between Rick and his kids, like in this
Oh
episode. And
shit.
I think a
Wait, I
lot of
thought Carl got killed. No.
Carl is dead, but he has two children.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, Judith was born while Carl was still alive, and he has a child with Michonne that he didn't know about. He found out in the show that he had it. We knew that, like as fans, we knew that he had a child. Like she
Okay.
was pregnant. She was pregnant when he went away, basically. So he had never met his son, didn't know he existed, and just found out about him like recently. But I think a lot of people thought that we were going to get more of a build to when you were finally going to get this moment that he was going to see his kids again, and instead, you kind of just get like the final 2 minutes or 3 minutes of the episode is him coming home to meet his kid. And like, I think it's done in a way that like if they if it didn't get the reception that they expected to get, they had a completely told story like it would have done better to have maybe eight episodes. Like instead of six, maybe eight would have been the better approach to flesh out the final things a little bit better. But
Yeah.
it was made in a way that like, hey, if we don't get another season, like you got everything we kind of promised.
Mhm.
But I think it performed so well that inevitably it's going to end up getting a second season, because I feel like AMC and whoever else is going to want to pay them to come back for more, because it's like it drew like Walking Dead like season 7, season 8 ratings for AMC,
Okay.
which is like something that hasn't happened clearly in a long time. And like between this and Daryl Dixon, they've kind of found something with like good ratings, and ratings on TV is hard to come by. And I'm talking about like actual TV ratings, not just like their AMC app rating. Like people who are actually watching this shit on TV.
Oh,
So
like this aired on cable too?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So Um, we'll wait and see. They've done a couple interviews. Nothing's been formally announced. We get Daryl Dixon this summer. There's supposed to be a preview of that for season 2 coming out sometime in the next week. And there was a reference in season 1 of Daryl Dixon about that Carol talks to him over like a walkie, or like a long distance walkie or something, and tells him that like somebody came back, and they never tell you who came back. So I think there's a lot of questions now as to like, was she
Is it
talking about
Rick?
how Rick has come back now that we know that he is back? And like that's the stuff that I think a lot of fans are still going to want to see, is like Rick and Daryl like reuniting and like seeing that happen. And like I think that that's the stories that you still have that you can tell going forward.
Okay.
Um, okay, next up for me for us to talk about, I saw Immaculate.
Ah, you did.
Yeah, yep, I did go
Thoughts?
and see that. I liked it more than you did.
Okay.
I think I definitely liked it more than you did. I totally understand your criticism of like the pacing is slow. Um,
It's slow and then it just like wraps it all up in the last 20 minutes out of nowhere.
so but at the same time, I thought the last 20 to 30 minutes were so unhinged.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I mean like
it,
that part of it was definitely enjoyable. Like
and
fucking
gets like it builds and builds in terms of how unhinged, and it ends in like the most unhinged way possible.
bro,
You know,
bro, like I didn't see that ending.
no, I was sure, dude, in like 3, 2, 1, for this,
Oh yeah.
like I was so sure. Before I spoil it, let me just give some preface to it, right? So, for those that don't understand what this movie is, like this is a Sydney Sweeney movie where she is a girl who, when she was a child, almost dies, and from then has determined that she is here for a higher calling, and has decided to dedicate her life to God, and has lived like that way for her entirety of her life, like by the rules of a nun, basically.
Yeah.
And she gets invited to Italy to like an authentic fucking coven or whatever of witches and wizards.
I don't think it was called a coven.
No, what do they call those?
Fuck, I don't know, but it wasn't a coven.
Wherever they send all the nuns to.
Oh man.
A sanctuary.
No, it started with a C, but it wasn't coven. Fuck, I can't think of the word now.
Oh, you figure it out for me. I'll keep talking.
Convent.
But so a convent. Yeah. Okay. So she goes to a convent and gives her life to Christ even further. And like the very first thing you get in the movie is that like you're set up with this idea that somebody's already trying to escape and like they like brutally fuck this girl up who tries to leave. So you already know that there's something not right with this place when
Yeah.
she gets there, but everything seems above board when she's there. And slowly like stuff starts to happen, like weird little things. And next thing you know, she's fucking pregnant. And she has done nothing to become pregnant. It's in like it's called Immaculate, which I think we could all inferred prior to seeing the movie because of
Immaculate conception, yeah.
exactly right. And then I thought like the interesting part was seeing it slowly unwind with like how she became pregnant. Like I did think
Yeah.
that like from a pacing standpoint, I wasn't offended by the pacing, and I think that's why I liked it a little bit more than you because
I
I
think
think
my
it
thing
did
was like
just
I found it an interesting premise, but I just don't think it was a great execution.
but it's only an hour and a half long, right? So like
Yeah.
I think that's why I wasn't offended by the pacing of it because like there was enough happening from the story unfolding to little moments of tension, like her walking around with the candle and like snooping around trying to find stuff, um, cutting off the tongue. Like there was enough like little things popping up and happening that like it kept me like okay, like what's going on here? I wish it was scarier. Don't get me wrong. Like
Yeah.
there was some cringeworthy like scenes for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but then when she finally is just like, fuck this in the last 20 to 30 minutes of the movie and is like, you're gonna force me to have this kid. Well, I'm gonna burn this whole fucking place down.
No, she was definitely like gangster in the last like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and like, mind you, does it like as her water breaks.
Yeah. Like
Like,
that's what sets it off.
yeah, like she just like in I guess to further the spoilers, like she becomes pregnant due to them like running science experiments, basically.
Bro. So they had like one of the spikes that like nailed Jesus to the cross and pulled his DNA off of it to try and spawn another coming of Christ.
Like, which is that is crazy. That is the most like ridiculous part of the whole story, right?
And then selected her because she was supposed to be like compatible with it somehow.
Well, I think that they were trying it on a bunch of women, and like it just didn't work with most of them. And she infers like, how long have you been watching me? You
Yeah.
know, because it's almost like they've been like just monitoring newspapers from around the world for like miracles. And like she died for 7 minutes and came back to life, and like she had like this background of like somebody who was supposed to have died but lived, so they already identified her as like a miracle, and like that's why they chose
Like,
her.
oh, this is the backstory we can exploit for our narrative.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, it's just like she kills a nun, then she kills a fucking doctor, then she kills a priest with rosary beads, like not giving a fuck.
Bro.
And then she then comes across like who like the pseudo father, like the one who impregnates her without actually doing it. And like that guy goes through it.
Burns that man alive.
But yeah, and it doesn't even like he literally lives like and
What?
it's just on a warpath after that. And I was cringing like when he was cutting her to like basically perform just a
The
C-section on
C-section?
her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I don't know why she struggled so much to get the spike like out. Like I thought that was like a little bit too much. Like, okay, we're trying to build tension. Like,
Yeah.
it's like just grab the spike. Like, you got it. You're there. Like, grab it. You know. But to get to the part that I think we're both talking about where it goes like fully unhinged, because I like we're quickly blasting through the kills. Honestly, like it doesn't do it justice for how like it's just in succession of her just being like one after another. Like I'm just gonna
Yeah.
take you all the fuck out.
Yeah.
But, like finally, she screams into the camera for like a minute straight, and a baby falls out and you never see the baby. I was
No.
trying to figure out like, are they going to show me the baby and he's like deformed, like because he's like not a real
Yeah,
child. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's like such a weird thing. And they showed you that the babies that they've like tried to like that are in the little jars and everything
Oh
aren't like
yeah,
normal, right? Like,
yeah,
and I'm like, uh, what are they gonna? Are they gonna show you that this baby's fucked? Like, what to justify what she does? And then I
bro.
thought,
Like I didn't even see
yeah,
that coming. Like I thought, like okay, she birthed the baby. Now she's got to get out of here.
yeah, I thought she could leave it in the woods. I thought when she picked up the rock and was like over her head that she was gonna slam it down, but opt to like slam it next to the kid and like be like, I can't do that. Like it's still
Yeah,
my child. They were like, nah, fuck it. She just slams a fucking boulder onto a baby and the movie ends.
yes.
That like I don't know. I
And that was after her just fucking savagely cutting the umbilical cord.
with their teeth, dude.
Yeah.
She just bites it off, bro. Like she was so done with everything. She's
Yeah.
like I am fucking out of here. What is this shit? I guarantee you she drank, smoked, and fucked like a week after that.
I don't think
She
she could fuck a week after that.
maybe it was 2 weeks. I don't know what the bucket fucking line is for when you're allowed to do that, but I'm telling you, she gave up her vows.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, God's plan my ass, dude. um, so I gave this 2.5 stars,
Okay.
and it's eighth out of 12 for me. So I have it in front of Lisa Frankenstein, Madam Web, Night Swim, and ISS.
I have it
And just
behind almost all of those.
I know. I know. I
Yeah.
told you I enjoyed this more than you did. Like, which is fine. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. Like, I totally understand what your gripes were. Um, I I've said this a million times over. When a movie's an hour and a half long, it's very hard for me to give it a harsh criticism. And I love Final Girl like horror. So
And I think
her,
you're just too high on Sydney Sweeney.
but any final girl horror movie, like regardless of, you're right. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. That's not my point here. But I any final girl horror movie that does this, where like the girl the whole movie has just been getting like fucked with, and then she finally just like mows down everybody. Like I've said it
Yeah.
all along. Like that's my favorite kind of horror movie. Like the religious like possession horror movies don't do shit for me. This movie was none of that. This movie was just like weird as fuck.
Which
And
I
then
thought it was gonna be that for a minute.
yeah, yeah. No, it's just like I'm gonna kill everything. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So do you have anything else for your taste test?
What else did I watch? I don't remember what platform I watched it on, but I watched Father Figures,
Owen Wilson and
Ed Helms.
Ed Helms. Yeah, I own that. It's on my Voodoo if you ever want to watch it again.
It's on Max.
All right. Yeah, I've only watched it like once. It doesn't really ring as like anything I remember like loving. I like Owen Wilson a lot though.
It was all right. I mean, it was a decent story. I just feel like it almost was like comedy was an afterthought, even though it's clearly supposed to be a comedy movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of the jokes were missing. They were kind of like, oh, well, okay, that's clever, but whatever.
I think that that was the criticisms of it to a point was
No,
like it's not it's not like funny enough for a comedy.
yeah,
If I remember when it came out. It came out a while ago. But yeah, I think that that's why I've never really gone back to it. I think that there's like funnier Owen Wilson movies. There's like Ed Helms is like I don't know. He doesn't have a ton out there outside of like The Hangover, and he did like that Tag movie.
yeah.
Um,
This was
I
just one
don't
of those
really.
things. Another one of those things where like I saw a short for like a clip from the movie,
Mhm.
and it looked funny.
Yeah,
So I watched the movie, and then I was like, wow, that was literally the funniest part
yeah.
of the movie.
I don't blame you because if I saw like oh like there's an Owen Wilson and Helms comedy that I haven't watched before and I have nothing else to watch like
Yeah.
that's something I would throw on. I totally get
Because like the short I saw was like the scene with like them and like Ving Rhames sitting on the beach and they're like talking about his mother.
that. Yeah, it's been so long I don't
Uh
remember it at all. what you like. Yeah, isn't it about his mother like being like a hoe or some shit? I don't remember.
Yeah, like she told them their dad died, and then they find out that like that was a lie, and she just doesn't know who their dad is. So then they set out to find their dad,
Mm-hmm.
and like the first person they thought it was Terry Bradshaw. So they're like talking with him, and then Ving Rhames comes over, and they both know her, and Ving Rhames starts talking about the mother, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that lady, she was a dick whisperer." And he's like going into detail and shit, and they're just like, whoa, dude, that's our mom. And he's like, no, I didn't mean any of that. She was a very nice lady. But like literally, that was the funniest scene in the movie, and that was the short I watched that made me watch the movie.
Have you ever watched Unfinished Business before?
No.
That's a good one to watch.
Who's in
It's a
that?
Vince Vaughn movie.
Okay.
It's like a later stage Vince Vaughn movie. It's a good one to check out.
2015, huh?
Yeah, that one's funny. Um, you've seen The Internship, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think like Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn are very funny together. But yeah, check out Unfinished Business.
Add that one to my list.
Anything else?
No, that was it. It was a dry week for me.
All right, quick update. Pretty Little Liars. I'm at season 3, episode 7. We're almost at the half point play, people.
Grinding.
And hey, it's not that bad. It's not that bad, everybody. Hey, I'm really out here looking for somebody who has seen this show, so I have somebody to talk to about it. So if anybody out there in the world has gotten this far into the podcast and is like, "Oh, I liked Pretty Little Liars," and wants to drop a comment down below,
The problem is, I feel like I would enjoy it, but it's way too many episodes, and you would get like a whole month of that being all I can talk about on the taste test. And I just don't think that helps anybody.
That's the thing is like I watch things at a completely different pace than most people do.
Yeah.
Because like once I get my mind on I'm gonna like binge something, I like go all out. I don't sleep. I just fucking watch it.
Yeah.
So like I just live in a different world for that stuff. But I can't go on like Reddit or anything because it's just gonna spoil shit for me. So I don't have an outlet for like, hey, I liked this or I like that, or like, hey, like how do you feel about this? You know, like there's just not a place that I can go to for any of this stuff. And I'm glad. Like there's like this is definitely one of those shows where I'm so happy like I wasn't watching it when it was on. Because I can just get most of the answers. Like I can just like be like, okay, I want to see where this is going. Well, power through another fucking 5 episodes. You'll get there, buddy. You know?
Fair.
But you know, the first 2 seasons you get like a pretty major payoff to some stuff, but it still opens up like a lot of the same questions. So you get answers, but then you have more questions based on those. And like, yeah, it's been pretty cool. Characters I didn't like through most of the first season have grown on me more now. And yeah, it's still good. So I, 7 seasons of the show. I got a ways to go. I'll probably be like season 5.5 by the next time we do this, though. So,
Jesus Christ! So you're already plotting to be done in 2 weeks.
That was always my goal, is to be done in like 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah. But hey, if my computer works again, maybe I won't have so much time on my hands. Full circle. Is that all you got?
That is all I got.
All right, guys. I feel like this was intended to be a short one, and as always, it went like obscenely long. If you've gotten this far, though, greatly appreciated. If not, that's okay too. Watch it in spurts, binge it, watch it in chapters. I don't give a shit. Just watch it. Tell a friend to ask a friend. Where anywhere that audio podcast can be found, right here on YouTube as well. I'll probably have thoughts on WrestleMania by the next time you see me after you see this. So I'm stoked. I wish me well for this weekend, even though it's already over by the time. Well, because like this episode's going to be out after WrestleMania, so it's like hey, I'll do the same thing I did with the Super Bowl. Congratulations, Cody Rhodes, on your new championship victory. That was great. Bloodline Rules was fantastic. Sami Zayn, congratulations on your championship victory as well. That was well earned. Glad you had another WrestleMania moment. Yeah, okay. There's my predictions for Call Me Nostradamus, dude. Recorded this like 5 days earlier.
Sick.
You can find Dante at Dirty Water ENT, at Dirty Water ENT _ something, 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 any of those places. Until next week, though, we love you. Peace out. Bye-bye. Bang, bang.
Ski ski.
For those with good taste.